You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Leonard Scheiner. He is the CEO and founder at Geek House, a law firm, marketing, branding, and public relation agency in LA, and he has been helping law firms, attorneys, and professional service business owners for the past decade. And that focuses on their brands, their marketing, and how to get new clients. So it's a pretty neat niche because, attorneys, they don't have time for that. They don't have time to be marketing and going out and getting new clients besides the billboard ad that you may see, the obnoxious billboard ads you may have seen on the freeway. So I'm excited to get in this with Leonard. So with no further ado, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it is my pleasure. Let's talk about how it got started. I know it's marketing, but then you do have that very specific niche. So let's tell us the story behind Geek House.
Awesome. So I actually got introduced to law when I was in undergrad. I interned for a law firm for a few weeks at the beginning of my educational career, and I loved it. I loved how there was an order for seemingly everything in life, whether you're making lots of money and we want to apply tax law, or you're making very little money and want to apply bankruptcy law, or if you're starting a new relationship or ending a relationship. So really, everything that touches humanity, there's likely a set of laws that govern it or can guide it. And so I really fell in love with the idea that there can be a system and a structure and a process for everything. And for my type A brain and for the analytical people out there, I'm sure that that's comforting to you as well. So being able to have everything have a place and have everything be in its place. So I loved that organization and that structure. And I ran with it from there. So it started off as an intern and then grew throughout the marketing department of various firms, business development, marketing, advertising. And so I learned what worked and what didn't work. I was able to go into different firms and learn the subject matter, so the actual essence of the business. But then, okay, how does that relate to someone, or who is the someone who wants what we do? So that was my start, really from the ground up. And my most recent position in a law firm was their CMO, handling basically everything in the marketing, the advertising, the new sales, all of the new client stuff for an international firm. After that, I started my own agency called Geek House, and that's what I do today.
That's phenomenal. So you literally started from the ground up and kind of work your way up within the firms, learn as much as you could, and then stepped out and said, what, there's a need, there's a bigger need. So I'm helping one company, I can help several of them, right? And that's pretty neat. So what are some of the things that you learn about marketing from all the interaction that you've done, with the various attorneys in the firms?
So marketing for legal services is unique because no one wants to hire an attorney. Believe it or not, no one wants that. So very different than if we were selling something that people wanted, right? Whether it's a candy bar or a new car, people want that. Yeah. But take it to the arena of law, even if it's, bankruptcy, right? And you want that relief, you still don't want to pay for that attorney. And so marketing legal services is really about focusing on their need. And when we look at the need, that should be any marketing campaign's strategy, or one of the top questions, right? Is who are we talking to and how do we position ourselves so that market, that target market that we're going after, sees us as the best and ultimate choice for them. So we approach marketing that the best thing that we can do is communicate honestly. And I know that that sounds pretty general, but what's the typical advertisement from an attorney? Been hurt, call for a consultation. That's it.
Yeah.
And so what I effort to do with our clients and really our agency as a whole, when we're crafting campaigns, we want them to be compelling. So it's no longer, book a consult with your attorney or with an attorney. It's something more attractive, like come have a virtual coffee or a virtual meeting, right? That's like off the hip, kind of an example. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's much deeper of an analysis than that, but we're looking for ways to be different in the marketplace. How do we stand out? And with law, we want to be still very button up, still very professional, but we also want to show a little bit of ourselves. And the authentic word is thrown around a lot in present day marketing, mm-hmm. but we really want to bring it through. Like, what does authentic mean? We want to show ourselves, and we want to be able and be comfortable with that personality being shown. So when I'm looking at marketing for an attorney, it's usually looking at a few things. One of them being, who are you as a person? Like, what is your voice? And then 2, how do we connect what you have to say and your expertise to someone who might be in need of your help?
Yeah. And sometimes that we don't have the voice or the clarity to actually message that for the branding piece of it. It is a really tough niche to kind of penetrate and get into, because like you said, it's not something sexy that you're selling, right? That you people are going to want and go after. Do you find that there's struggles? Do you find that, what are some of the struggles that you come across with the clientele you serve?
So people will do things themselves if they have the know-how and if they have the time. But so often with professionals, and I'm talking about lawyers, I'm talking about doctors, I'm talking about real estate agents, I'm talking about anyone who's in business where they are the good or the service at the end of the product. Day. Mm-hmm. Right. Kind of much like yourself, right? You're a doctor, you're a professional, you're an expert. You have your personal brand when you're with your family or with your friends, but then you also have that public appearance, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the challenges that I come up with pretty oftentimes, not so much in the agency side of things, but part of our agency, we do coaching in that. And so when I'm coaching with clients, one of the key things that is a challenge for them is, how do I blend that public version of myself with the private version? And my response to that is, we don't need to show all of your personal life, just like we don't need to show all of your professional life. So we want to really pick and choose what elements we bring out from the person and their personal brand into their professional brand. And sometimes there's a little bit different, but we really try to focus and bring something authentic of them to the professional side, which is what they're actually selling. That's probably one of the biggest challenges that I see with our clients.
Is how to balance it out, the right balance, right? Not to overdo it on one end of the spectrum than the other.
Exactly. Yes.
Understood. So for, with marketing, with branding, you're helping with quite a bit. So tell us about some of the specifics that you do.
So we're a full service agency. And so we are handling branding, marketing, and growth. Those are our 3 pillars within the agency: is brand, market, grow. Yeah. Like I said, it's full service. So if you are just starting out and you left law school, or you are maybe branching off from a bigger firm, and I'm gearing this conversation to attorneys and lawyers, but this really applies to all professionals. So, whether you're just going out on your own, or you've got your own practice already up and running, we look to come in and help you grow from wherever you're starting from. So I've had clients who are doing multiple $1 million a year, and we go in and grow them even more. I've also had people who are doing maybe $200,000 a year, and we're still able to go in at that level, get their systems in place, get their infrastructure down, and really help them grow from that point. My main focus is looking at them from where they are, and then based off of their goal about what they want to do, growing them in that way. And I say that because some attorneys want to do all those billboards, like you mentioned earlier. And some attorneys say, gross, I'm going to throw up. I don't want to do a billboard. That is not my style. And so we get to go a different way with their growth plan. But no matter who the attorney is, what their personality is, what practice area, I've yet to find one that doesn't need help in some area. The help will look different, but there's something to be said for not doing things alone and having a support system behind you.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what in the world you're doing. It's navigating this online space now, because the old way of doing it was the billboard, was the old-fashioned way. Now we have online, the online space, and that can be noisy. I can see how your services could be beneficial. Let's talk about automation. Like, how important is that for law firms?
So for any business, automation is going to save you so much time. It's going to save you time. It's going to save your wallet, because whether you're spending your time or you're having someone on your team spend their time, that's going to be, a wage that's being paid. So when we look at automation, we're usually looking at things that we know are going to happen, and we can finitely define the path that we want someone to take after that. So let me give you an example. Say you run your business and you have a newsletter sign up on your site. Okay, well, when someone signs up for that, do they get a confirmation email saying, thanks for signing up for, the so-and-so newsletter? Okay, well, if they don't get that, we definitely want to have that automation where they're getting something right away, confirming that they've started a relationship with us. So that's one thing, but where does it go from there? Okay, they got a confirmation. Let's just say, our emails, our newsletters go out every Friday, right? But let's say, today is Tuesday and they get that confirmation email. Okay, great. Well, are we going to have them wait until Friday? Do we need to tell them that? What's our communication plan, right? Like, what do they need to know? So we want to have something that is automated that kind of gives them those details, and then let them know, communicate. We can't over communicate. It's really hard. It's really hard to over communicate. So we want to share in that automation what they can expect. So, hey, great, today is Tuesday. You can expect that we send out our newsletters every Friday. Let them know what's coming up. And then once they have that automated email that goes out with their sign-up confirmation, then they pop into another email sequence. That's their weekly newsletter emails. And another example of that is if you run online events, any type of virtual mastermind or any type of masterclass, any webinar type of offering, what we want to do is immediately have that confirmation that they've registered. But let's say they registered today and the event isn't for 2 weeks. Well, do we want to just tell them that and then ghost them until that 2 weeks? No, start to build that relationship. There's actually a big benefit to them registering for something 2 weeks out, because now we know that we're on their radar for being 2 weeks out. But from now to then, we have an amazingly wonderful opportunity because we have their attention and we can communicate with them. And notice I'm not saying sell to them. Right. I'm saying communicate to them. We want to build that value. At the very beginning of any automated email sequence, or when I'm planning a communication, even for the events that we do at Geek House, I'm always looking at how do we serve and how do we deliver value between when they said yes and when we go live or when we air that show. Because within those 2 weeks, what I can do is I can tee them up from a knowledge standpoint and give them context about what I'm going to be talking about. I can position myself as an expert. I can position myself as having authority. And I can also know that with that engagement, they're probably going to show up more, right? The likelihood that they're going to show up is more because I've built that relationship with them. So automations, long response to your question about are automations beneficial, but in any business, law firms or any other business, automations take away all of that needing to be there every day, every time, and we can ensure that our people are still getting the correct messages that they need.
Yeah, automation. I agree, and I hear you. One thing that stood out is that you kept saying communicate and build that relationship. It's fostering that relationship so that when you are ready to say, quote unquote, make a pitch or provide us sales, it doesn't come off too intrusive. All right, it's not too aggressive.
Sure.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. Very nice. So tell us about your team. Like, how big is your team? Plan, goal for growth.
Yeah, we look at our growth by quarters. So every quarter we look to grow just a little bit more than our last. And so I'm the CEO and founder. We've been running for about 4 years now. And we've got a small team here in the States. I can count them on one hand. We're a lean and mean ship, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so we have our key people here in the States. And then we also leverage offshore talent as well. So we've got a great relationship. My longest offshore person has been with me for about 5 years. So I'm really attached to getting great people, getting a great team together, and then coming together to great results for our clients. The beauty of this is that in today's world, we can all be virtual. So nearly everything we do is virtual. It's on Zoom, it's by phone, it's FaceTime. And that really allows us to serve more people and have more impact. In terms of growth wise, what we want to see, I balance our growth of clients with our growth of people. So, our account managers who really handle the go between our back office people and our clients, those people scale with our clients. So as I'm looking to bring more clients into Geek House so that we can serve more wonderful people, we grow our account managers. They're correlated as well.
Makes sense. Yeah. And you will attest to this, that it's imperative to have the right people on your corner, right? To have the talent to help you execute.
In years past, I had a VA. This was maybe around, 5-6 years ago. And the system that I craft and I create, I then pass down to the VAs to run. And so I'm always creating the process and then passing that down. We test it, try it, make sure that it works well before we roll it out full bore. And so the strategy that I had done and passed to a VA, the VA was missing 1 or 2 items within that SOP, the standard operating procedure for that role. And it only took about 4 days for me to see issues starting to come in. I was in a different type of business at that time, but I very quickly saw how your VAs can either do great amount of work for you and get great results, or I can see how either me not training on it well enough or them not following the process well enough actually was detrimental to our business, right? So I've seen the positive sides of that and I've seen the negative sides as well. So definitely team members are something that you want to do slowly but surely in terms of onboarding them, training them, making sure that they're a great fit for your business.
Yeah, it's almost like an investment. It's a long-term investment. You got to put the adequate time to train, because as a startup, we don't have the funding to get the top of the line people in their field. And so a lot of training does have to take place. What are some of the qualities that would you suggest to look for when hiring?
It's a great question. So I look for professionalism and aptitude, which are sometimes hard to test for, right? There's no quiz that you can take, but it's pretty easy to look at a set of resumes or a set of applications, and I'm choosing the top 10% to then go forward for an interview. Mm-hmm. I'll do things when I put my ad out, put in their purple music box or just something so that let me know that you read this, put in purple music box at the top of your application, something silly like that. Mm-hmm. I'll also set times, let's meet at 3 p.m. And, I can see when people log in. So if they're right there, right at time, Not that that's bad, but I can tell if they log in 10 minutes beforehand, they're a planner, right? So there's certain things along the way that, not that I hyper engineer them to be pitfalls, but there's definitely things that are in a process. And I think any business owner should have certain elements in their process that weed out the people that are not going to be aligned with, you or what your business or what you're looking for.
Yeah, because it's costly. Onboarding is costly. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes money getting people acclimated up to par with the task. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about your habits, your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up to do what you do?
So when we're working from home and in this virtual age, we've got a couch close, we've got pets with us, we've got a never-ending coffee machine. And so how do we do that? How do we stay motivated when we're, in an essence, working in a silo? So I look at my mornings as the precursor to the rest of my day.
Yep.
So I have done the horrible thing of checking my email before I even put my feet on the ground. And I can contrast that with mornings where I get up, I listen to, a spiritual or a universal program, depending on what your preference is. I set myself up intentionally to have the best day possible. So I will listen to maybe a video or two by Abraham Hicks. I absolutely love her body of work. It is not religious, which if you are great, if you're not great, that's a personal preference. But I like her message because it lays over the top of any religious belief, or if you're not religious, it just stands on its own.
Yeah.
So I love the Abraham Hicks body of work. And I listen to probably 1 or 2 videos from there. They're short, maybe do 20, 15, 20, 30 minutes of that in the morning while I'm getting ready and making some coffee. It's really a great setup for my day because it gets me in the mode of thinking, okay, well, what's possible? What could I be in control of? What results could I create today? Like, how do I put the fear aside if there is any and just courageously go forward? And so that lays a great, great, great foundation for being able to go into the day and realize that you have control over your day. And the day actually starts the night before. So you can also listen to something at night. Sometimes I will do that a few nights out of the week. I'll listen to something that goes the entire night. It's like an 8-hour video or something. They're found on YouTube. They're free. I love doing that because I feel like I wake up better. Then my morning is crafted with having those positive messages. And then I go take on the day.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. I do something very similar. Binaural beats, affirmations, whatever it may be, to kind of reframe the mind. For you, it's like the routine is not more just physical. We groom, we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we get dressed, we put on makeup, we do all that stuff. But from your standpoint, what I'm hearing is more mental. It's like getting sharp, getting like the subconscious mind programmed for the day. So why is that pivotal?
That pivotal really came from understanding that we are not the thoughts that we think. Plain and simple. Your mind is a creature, but
it's a creature. I like that.
It's a creature. So if you can reach a point where you can be an observer of your thoughts versus being your thoughts, that really splits the great from the good. Because I know that there are things that trigger me during the day. There's things that trigger you. There's things that trigger to every single person listening.
Yeah.
And if we can take a moment to feel that emotion, the emotion is true, right? It's our brain releasing some type of chemical to our body. So the emotion is fact. But if we can just for a minute dig a little bit under that and say, why am I having this feeling? I've even stopped myself at some points during days where I'm just I'm tweaked about something and I'm kind of irked and then I'm handling things and I really you're off kilter, right? You feel it. And so I'll stop for a minute. I'll be where is this coming from? Like, what is this frustration coming from? Oh, it's coming from this project or this client or this thing that needs to be resolved or this personal thing or this relationship, or like, I'll stop for a moment, or maybe it's just an interaction. I'll stop and I'll think, where is it coming from? I'll identify it. And if it's coming from this or that or whatever, at least I can then put those emotions in that box. And we can compartmentalize, okay, those emotions go with that topic. But that's not my topic for all of today. So how do we shift that? So definitely always in shifting mode about pivoting from what is true to what we're thinking and the thoughts that we have.
That is smart. That is well put. Absolutely. Because we're going to get triggered regardless. But knowing when to address it is a good thing, because you just don't want it to ruin your day and then make everything else worse, especially when you have to show up for people, when you have a team to be there for, so it's crucial that that awareness is important.
Very true.
Yeah. So tell us, where can we connect with you? How can we find you?
Yeah. So I am online just about everywhere. If you search for Leonard Scheiner, you'll come up with a whole page of details. But if you're interested in connecting, I am on LinkedIn. That's a great way to connect. Again, same on there, Leonard Scheiner. Or you can connect with me through the agency website. And that can be found online at gogeekhouse.com. So go, G-O, geek, G-E-E-K, and then house, we spell H-A-U-S. So gogeekhouse.com.
And that's German. The house is German, right?
The house is German. It's the German way to spell house. Yes, H-A-U-S.
Nice. Leonard, it's been so nice having you on board. Thank you for coming and sharing. We love hearing quotes here at BMR. So go ahead and leave us with your favorite.
The quote that comes to mind is, if there's a will, there's a way. So if we think about what we want, what we dream about, what the vision is that we have for ourselves, for our business, for our kids, what have you. If there's a will to create that business, if there's a will to create that result, then there's a way. It might not look like exactly how you're envisioning it in your head, but the path to get there, but achieving whatever you want and setting your mind to it, 100% possible.
It's possible. Just take the first step, right?
Very true.
Well said, Leonard. Thank you again for coming and sharing with us. It's been a delight.
Thank you, Dr. Lunid. It was a pleasure.
Well, all right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,